All right, Christology episode 1. So I'll be the moderator, and then I made this podcast to allow people that's passionate about Jesus Christ talk about Jesus Christ because it's a fun topic, and it's one of those things where you could like deep dive and do research and stuff. Because he's very popular, but at the same time very mysterious. So I'm gonna have other people come here too. That shares the same passion. But I read an article. I don't have the exact article that I read, but the one I sent you was last year around this time, which is crazy. It was February 2024. I think it was 2 years ago, 2023. And then it was talking about how China has a large boost in Christianity. And the one I read recently, it was saying they increased anymore. So, since Christianity is the fellowship of Christ, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think that Christianity is spreading worldwide. I think that Christ consciousness is taking over. I think it's an elevated consciousness. I think it's a revelation of the truth and the light side of the harmony of the spectrum of the world. And a lot of people are realizing that there is really great evil in the world. And so they're seeking out greater knowledge to try to defeat or combat against this evil. And what they are finding is Christ knowledge and Christ consciousness in the teachings of Jesus Christ and the New Testament of the Bible. And so, yeah, in a lot of Asian countries, their Christianity population is just growing. I think that you can look at a lot of different studies and you can do a lot of research online. You can find different conclusions, but in my assessment, in my analysis, Christianity is only rising in popularity within the world, and other religions are shrinking. What do you think?
Um, it's weird because I know China is real big on Buddhism, and I forgot the other religions that they hold or values, like Taoism and some other stuff, and I think a little Hinduism influence also. And then I've read a lot about like throughout the years about them persecuting Muslim refugees and stuff. So I know they have a strict sense of I forgot what it's called, is their a sense of their culture or whatever, or religion. So they have a strong they try to keep it preserved or whatever, preservation, a strong preservation of their religion. So I always knew that because they want to keep their culture preserved. But I wouldn't have thought that this would be um, it was showing China out to all the other countries. So it's
Yeah,
interesting. It's one of those gotcha moments like, I'm here.
yeah, it's in America, the Christian faith is getting stronger in some ways, but in other ways, it's getting weaker. You see the infiltration of the church with the LGBT propaganda and agendas that are coming in, which, in my opinion, is blasphemous. And I think that a lot of the church's messages are being diluted down. I think that the things that they're preaching about are not really relevant or relevant to a lot of people's lives. I think that they're trying to just push a leftist narrative in a lot of these church sermons. And I think that a lot of the churches have been greatly infiltrated to a large degree with Satanists and other evil people who are actually trying to work against God. And the reason that they join the church, even though they're actually not a follower of Jesus Christ, their true intention is to subvert the will of Jesus Christ. And they do this because this is one of the ultimate forms of blasphemy, is to invert the teachings of the church and to preach inversion from the pulpit. And so this is what they do, and we have to be privy to these tactics of the enemy. We have to study them fiercely, and we have to really know what's going on. And that's what real Christianity is all about, actually, is a higher consciousness, an elevated consciousness, seeking the truth, seeking wisdom, and harmony, balance, and love. And in my opinion, that's what Christianity is about. It's about the scripture, it's about what's written in the Bible. And I think that it's really just about being a good person and living your life and trying to be Christ-like, which Christ was one of the ultimate representations of a human man as far as his actions and his behaviors and his habits. He was such a good, loving person and just such a positive figure. And he really never did anything wrong. As far as a lot of people are concerned, and that can be debated, that can be argued, but Christ is one of the most iconic figures, one of the best philosophers, and a lot of people think Christ is king.
So this is the picture that I wanted to choose to put as a background for here, so we could just discuss in audio. But StreamYard always lets me down, so you have to like pay to get to pick your own custom background. But this background's cool too. It got the like goldish texture to it or whatever. But yeah, I really like this picture. Was it Sermon on the Mount by Carl Heinrich Bloch, 1877. This is amazing. But I don't think it shows any of, I like this one too.
Oh, that's a really good, famous painting. I had a print of that, but it was like a really old, antique, faded print. I don't think I still have it actually. Yeah, I think I sold it, but or I might have got rid of it because it was like so deteriorated. But or maybe I do have it. I'm not sure. But yeah, I got a really old print of that painting.
I like the reactions of the people looking at us. When you think of God, like you think of like scary and like above you and stuff like that. But this shows how grounded and down to earth he is, to where you could gather around and people could just hear him speak and stuff. Like even the guy that's directly beside him or whatever, he's not looking at him directly in the eye, but he's like hearing, you know, you overhear somebody or you sitting in a bad position, but you sitting there listening and stuff. And then you see him where he's like, it's crazy. He's like actually in a prayer position, but he's actually just like engaged and thinking and stuff. And then you can see her like this, like she's like really thinking or just like it like make her like kind of like daydream while you talking or whatever, like really thinking. Even this one that's in the dark, you could tell he's probably going through something dark or he doesn't want to be seen, but he's still hearing the voice. And then you see the wise old man is learning some new knowledge. He's like really intrigued, like, wow, I've been alive longer than him and he knows a lot. And the same with him or whatever. And then you see these people looking like, wow, this is amazing. And even another wise old man, he looking like, dang, this dude
That
cooking.
one's called Christ on a Hilltop, right? Christ on the Hilltop.
The yellow Christ. It probably
Yellow.
has another name too.
Okay. Maybe I don't know. Can you Google search Christ on the Hilltop? Maybe later in the show if you get a chance, and
Hmm.
we could see.
Yeah, I could do it now. At
That's
all
what I
time.
was. That's the one I.
That's
Oh,
one.
that's the. Oh yeah, that's a good
This
article.
one.
15 famous influ. The one painting, if you scroll down with the orb, that was the world record most expensive painting ever sold at an auction, and it's on some like billionaire's yacht. No, go down, not that
Wow.
one. That's
It
the
even
most.
looks good. It even looks good when it's like distorted and stuff. Like the elements took it off, but it makes it even look better. That's what I love about old art paintings. Like you can see the erosion and stuff, but it makes it look even better. It like shows a richer
Like
story
added
about it. It's like,
character.
yeah, you can tell that it's like ancient and it like puts you in the time frame like, damn, how long this painting was made? And it still keeps the good elements and the talent in it too.
Go down a little bit. Go down. Go down. Go down. Oh, yep. Keep going. Keep going. That one. He's got the orb. Yeah, that's the
Raphael.
world's record most expensive painting. If you Google that one, it'll show it's like however many millions of dollars it sold for. And it's on some guy's yacht. Last time I checked, last time I researched it, because I remember that. But yeah, that painting's crazy. Because that was Leonardo da Vinci, right?
I'm wearing this too. This is real nice.
Is that Da Vinci painted that, right? I want to say.
Raphael.
Raphael. Oh, okay.
I didn't know he painted this one too, because they use this a lot with they use it in like reverse image it and stuff, and then find different stuff within the paintings. But the way he drew the hair, this is crazy. How detailed the hair is. This was made in 1516. That's crazy. So he spent 4 years trying to draw this. It was worth every 4 years. They do crazy in Photoshop.
Could you Google Jesus on the Hilltop real quick?
And I need to check to see if one of my friends is on here. Nope, he didn't.
Try Jesus on the Hilltop painting.
This one?
Nah, that's the one. I think.
Let me put a Hilltop.
Second row,
space.
First one. Yeah, that's it. The second one.
What? This one?
Yeah. Second.
Oh, this looks cool.
Yeah, that's the one.
Like
yep. That's the one I had a print of, but it was like a really old, faded print. Yeah, that's a cool one.
Big one. Garden of Jasmine. Copy that. See if that. Oh, it didn't.
I want to like do my own rendition of that painting. I need to recreate that one. That one's so powerful.
It has the Van Gogh feel with the you see how the trees are, and then the like night sky and stuff. Whoever drew that like probably lived in Italy in that area.
Yeah, because I remember when I had that print and I was trying to do research on the painting, and I did find it, but it was like the origins of the painting is basically like unknown. It's like you can't really, no one's claimed like, oh, this artist did this painting. It's just like it's on the internet, but it's like you can't really find who did it or what year it was or whatever. Like,
yeah, because you could tell they were inspired by Van Gogh with the background. The background is
yeah, it's an old painting. Jesus on the Hilltop.
I think there's a lot of moments like this in Jesus' life where he's just sitting there just thinking. No, that's a remade one. Or
yeah,
just sitting
it's been redone a bunch of times too, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's just stoic, bro. Just stoicism and just like introspective and meditative.
On a mission, focus on his mission, and just putting he's like selfless. He put his self or his wants to the side and put humanity's his first priority is like above him. And you got to have some type of strong personality to do that.
Go up. Yeah, that one in the middle. Yeah. Looking over Jerusalem. Yeah. That's what it is. Type in Jesus Christ looking over Jerusalem.
Oh, I just add this. Never mind, I'll just type it in. It sounds like you said, type it in, Jesus Christ.
I'm like so intrigued by this right now. This is an entertaining podcast. Yeah. Okay, there's another type of painting it looks like.
That's crazy because I've never seen that painting before.
Yeah, there's another kind of rendition of it.
Well, I didn't know Jerusalem have trees like that. The little Van Gogh like trees. I forgot what they call like cypress trees or something. I forgot the
Or
little.
maybe try Jesus praying over Jerusalem. See if that does anything. Yeah, there we go. Now we're more on track of, yeah, that's the one. That's a good painting, bro. That shit is so good. Oh, he put the little halo on there.
Maybe it's called Jesus Jerusalem prayer. Prayer over Jerusalem.
All right, now look up a picture of Trump touching the Jewish wall. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no! I thought you were serious. I was like, no.
Oh my goodness.
What do you think? How do you think Jesus would feel? Because it's just your interpretation or whatever. How do you think he feel about China increasing in Christianity at a high rate?
Yeah, I think Jesus is working through his soldiers. I consider myself a warrior for Jesus Christ. It's basically like we pray to Jesus and ask Jesus to enter into our consciousness and into our heart, into our brain, to take over, to really use us as like a vessel to carry out Jesus's will, to use us as a tool to carry out Jesus's mission. And so there's people in China that are doing the same thing. They're calling Jesus into their life and they're asking Jesus to take over and to really show them the way and how to live their life for Jesus Christ. And so a lot of people in China are really, you don't understand. It's a war that's happening. It's really it's a spiritual warfare that's going on, and people need to start thinking in these bigger, more expansive, out of box, broader terms, higher IQ thought patterns, as far as the spiritual warfare that's happening. And so the people in China are fighting for Jesus Christ and they're trying to spread his message and they're trying to spread his teachings and they want people to know Jesus. And so they're reaching out. And that's what it says in the Bible is to go out and to spread the word of Jesus. And so that's what people in China are doing. I think Jesus is so happy with the warriors in China.
Do you think he's collaborating with Buddha? Because a lot of people say Buddha has that, well, they call it the Buddha nature, but they're saying it's all related to Christ-like nature. Do you think they're collaborating together, or are you just working? They're working separately.
I think that the spirit of Buddha is overall, in my opinion, kind of neutral.
Mhm.
Not really towards the light side of the spectrum, which is what I consider Jesus Christ energy, not
Mhm.
towards the dark side of the spectrum, which is what I would consider like the devil or Satan energy. I say more towards like neutrality. That's kind of where I view like Buddhism, as
Mhm.
far as it's not really about selflessness. It's not really about trying to help others and love your enemies as much as Christianity is.
We
And
have
so
a guest on, just hopping in the glass one. Welcome to Christology. Just to catch him up on everything. I sent you, I texted you the article too. Um, why is it on mute? On mute, Mike. Oh, you're muted. Okay. Just to give you a recap, I sent you the article showing that um, what is it? Um, China is gaining popularity in Christianity at a fast rate, and I sent you an old article, but it's like really going now. So we just the last question I was asking was, do you think Jesus is collaborating with Buddha and etc. But you could continue, Austin. I think he's on mute. You just want to just listen through.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that when it comes to Buddhism, the ultimate goal is to meditate until you reach a state of enlightenment and ultimately transcend, which I think is similar in the sense of Christianity. as far as you're trying to go to heaven and you're being judged in this existence, and this is all a test for the next realm. And so I think that honestly, when it comes to all of the religions, the crossover and similarities is much greater than the differences. I think that especially the Abrahamic religions, when it comes to Judaism, Muslim, Islam, and Christianity, there's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences too. And then when you look at the other Hindu, Buddhism, these type of religions, there's also a lot of similarities, but also differences. But I think that as far as Jesus Christ working with Buddha, I would say that there is a spirit of Jesus Christ, there is a spirit of Buddha that people channel through them. They're literally a transceiver channeling these energies through them and channeling it and directionally towards other people, and it's a network of energy that's happening. And so I think that Jesus Christ energy is the ultimate dominant energy that takes over and eliminates all other energies when they come into combat. That's just my personal opinion. But I think that there are a lot of good aspects of the Buddhist faith, but I think that it's, like I said, more of a neutral type of energy, and it's not as a good, harmonious type of energy that Jesus Christ energy is.
Mm. I really like this picture. This is crazy. He's
Yeah, you
like
can
going through
see
a lot of stuff. He's like thinking like, how in the world? He already knows what's going to happen to him too, because he knows the beginning and the end. But he's just sitting there like, I gotta go through all this. He's so down to earth. It's so cool.
he's taking on all that pain, all that suffering, all of that heavy weight, all that burden is on his shoulders, and that's a true expressive form right there.
Yeah, didn't he like absorb people? Like when he healed people, he like absorbed their um sickness or negativity and then like transmute it through that way.
Right. It was almost like a Vulcan mind meld, but the original form of that, where he was healing people with his supernatural abilities and skills, and he performed miracles. I think it's all true. I think it's all real. I think that people need to come to know Jesus Christ, and they need to study this, because honestly, in my opinion, as heat is to cold, the absence of God in Jesus is the presence of Satan. I'll just say, in the absence of Jesus, the presence of Satan is
Mm-hmm.
is in close proximity to you, in the same way that heat is to cold. In the absence of heat is the presence of cold. It's the same thing. So if you don't know Jesus, which is the ultimate dominant hierarchical type of philosophy and type of religion, in my opinion, then you're pushing farther and farther away towards the devil, and you're sinning more and more. You need to confess your sins. You need to ask for forgiveness. You need to ask Jesus Christ to enter your heart, and you need to ask Jesus for leadership and ask him to help you be strong and to know the right path in this life.
I have an interesting question. Since you um, pointed out the duality of the absence of Jesus is Satan or whoever represents evil, do you think he contacts Satan or Lucifer? Do you think he contacts him and talks to him, like kind of like how um, Professor X and Magneto have their little talk down together where they agree to disagree and then they allow each other to do their thing or whatever and intervene when someone is attacking their children or whatever? Or do you think it's one of those things like, I'll wait till he comes to see me or whatever? Like, I'm always here for you, but you doing all this shit, all you're doing is just making more, um, converting more people, just showing them all the hate or making them go through stuff through their life. All they're going to do is just love me more. What do you think?
I think that Jesus is constantly reaching out to the devil,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to bring him back, but the devil is just rejecting Jesus and doesn't want anything to do with him, and is trying to invert everything that Jesus does, because the devil and the spirit of demonic energy and the spirit of evil cannot create. It only destroys, and it inverts and it deceives and it lies and it uses tactics of deception. And so it twists and makes everything backwards that Jesus Christ does. And so Jesus is constantly loving, constantly forgiving. Even the devil, even Lucifer in the story of the Bible, who has done the ultimate sin, the ultimate blasphemy, Jesus would still forgive them, would still forgive Lucifer if he actually really confessed his sins and actually felt bad about what he did and genuinely was sorry for all of this evil atrocities that he's committed and really asked for forgiveness. Jesus would forgive him, but the devil refuses to do that and refuses to come towards the light side. It's almost, as you know, in nature, it's the duality of nature. There always has to be a dark side to a light side. So it's almost as if the rules or the laws of the universe won't even let the devil come back to Jesus. Maybe in a different parallel universe or a different dimension, or when you go to heaven or whatever you want to call it, maybe there is no devil, and the devil did go back to Jesus in that instance, and everything is like super good. But we're living in reality of earth right now, this world where there is rampant evil. And it's almost as if you study politics, you study all these different power structures, the corporate systems, all the different corporations, the centralized banking systems, and you realize that, oh my God, evil is so prevalent. There is so much corruption. There's so much evil going on, and it makes you think like, well, there's so much demonic energy going on. So is this really like, what level am I? Because if we're gonna ascend to heaven, is this purgatory right now, or are we already in hell? Is it? That's what some people. I don't think that. I don't think we're already in hell. Some people think
Yeah,
that.
I don't know the percentage, because it's like there's a lot of good in the world, but it's like a lot of evil. And then it's like, even if you're just being nonchalant or not paying attention to it or whatever, you see some like evil shit or whatever and shit. You're like, how the fuck I live in a heaven, some place where it's like you have heaven on earth, and then at the same time it's hell on earth. It's like the duality is crazy. So I don't know the percentage. I guess you decide on what you want to see in percentage, but yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on in the world.
Well,
Like, how is
I would argue that there's not even really very heavenly places on this earth, in this world. Like, even if you're living in South Dakota, United States, and you have a mansion, and that's like, or Utah or Florida or wherever, there's Texas, wherever it's like a safe place in people's opinion, or middle of Russia, or wherever you think is like a bastion of freedom, or wherever you live in, Japan or whatever. It's still, there's so much corruption. There's still a one world government. And so even in this existence, the most heavenly places are not very heavenly, and the most hellish places are very hellish. Like, if you think about the Gaza Strip, what's going on with all the children just being bombed in their beds, I mean, that's a very hellish, hellscape type, nightmarish type of scenario that's going on, apocalyptic. I mean, so
it's really the end of the world for them. And at the same time, we're just sitting here like, oh, we're just sitting here paying bills and stuff and working. It's so, earth is so weird. It's so much duality.
but there, I live here in America, in Florida, and I've got an apartment and stuff, and like, I got food in my fridge and stuff, and so it's like, okay, well, this can't be that bad. So it's like, I kind of think of this as like almost as if we're in a purgatory, and so like we got to like do really good and really be a good person, and try and be as selfless as possible, and try and be as loving towards other people as possible. And then we maybe have a chance, if we're judged good, in good favor of God's eyes, to reach a higher level of consciousness, which is, in my opinion, like a heaven type of thing.
So it's been about 30 minutes. Now we're warmed up. Now I'm about to get to the serious topics, the good
Let's
topics.
go.
controversial topics. What would Jesus think about mega churches in
I
general?
think that
Controversial now.
I think that he would
The
like
Joel
certain aspects
Osteen.
of it because it's helping to spread the message, but at the same time, he doesn't like the corruption that's probably happening with the money embezzlement and a lot of the messages in some of these big corporate mega churches are not very good messages either. So he probably doesn't like the certain messages that are going on in these mega churches. And then as far as a lot of these mega churches are like making so much money, and then a lot of this money just goes into like the leadership of the church. It doesn't like go back to the people.
Line of jets, mansions, and stuff. And people
Yeah,
forget that Jesus was poor. He wasn't no like middle class. Like he was just working paycheck to paycheck. Well, back in the day, they didn't even have that. You just like working to live. So that's even more of a lesser form than like living in America, where you could like you'll be struggling, but you could like make it up. He was just like a simple man, like carpenter. I don't
yep.
know what other tricks or trades he did or any jobs or whatever and stuff, but he basically
Shepherd,
just
carpenter.
yeah. Oh yeah, he was a shepherd too.
Was he a
But he
shepherd?
just
I think
basically
so.
lived I know he was see, that's another mystery. Like, was he really a shepherd? Because I know he's a shepherd of men, but he probably was actually a shepherd because that's real common around that time. So he was basically living like a farm worker, like just working with his hands.
Country boy.
Yeah, so not only because a lot of people depict him as like real passive and like hippie philosopher like, but he get his hands dirty. He's a blue collar worker. He knows how to fix stuff or whatever. He was very masculine. So it's yeah, it's like so much stuff about him that's like not really talked about. That's why I like this thing. But yeah, back to yeah, the donations. What do you think about like donations? Like donate or whatever for a blessing and stuff. What do you think about that? The
Yeah,
churches.
I think that that's a good way for different types of organizations to operate is just by donations. Like if the people believe in it, then they donate, and then that organization is able to continue to grow and flourish and thrive. And I think that it is on the people a lot of times that are donating to these mega churches, because they're I remember one of my first girlfriends when I was in high school, she said that her family donated like a third of their income to the church. And I just thought that was crazy. I was like, what? They're giving all that much? Because, my parents didn't do that. And I never really heard of that until she told me that. And I just thought that was kind of wild. But I can maybe understand, if someone really believes in the church. As far as mega churches, like, are they bad? You were asking. Like, so if we,
How would Jesus feel about it?
right.
Hmm.
As far as if mega churches didn't exist, then I think that the message of Jesus would probably be slightly de-amplified. And so I think that overall mega churches Jesus would like. I think certain aspects of the mega churches he wouldn't like, but overall I think Jesus would approve and he would like the mega churches.
Hmm. That's interesting. Um, yeah, we about to get controversial. Let's get it. Christology. Um, so we talked about this before we start recording. So how would you think Jesus would feel about people forcing their religion on other people, like forcing Christ on other people? Like you need to believe this.
I think
You
that it
said
says,
scripture says it. What was the scripture again?
yeah, in the Bible it says that go out. Jesus says to go out and spread the good word of the gospel, and so he wants everyone to know the good word, and that's the word of Jesus Christ being able to forgive you of your sins and able to cleanse you and able to redeem you and to give you a clean slate. And that's the good news, is that if you ask for forgiveness, you will be forgiven. That's the message. That's the true message. And so he wants everybody to know this. And so it's really like these people are warriors. You don't understand, Carlos. We consider ourselves warriors of Jesus Christ. I'm not the only one. I'm just one of many. We are literally on a mission to fight for Jesus Christ. And the reason, it's not as if it's literally because we've had experiences that have opened our eyes to the truth, and we've been called upon by God himself to spread the word of Jesus Christ. And it's literally a calling, and it's something in that, it's like a deep urge in our heart. And so it's not even like an option, it's not even like a question, it's just we have to tell everybody the good news, the good word. And so as far as, I think that there are no other fiercer missionaries for their religion than the Christian missionaries. Like they say, oh, Islamists, radical Islam jihadists. And, you know, they have this term jihad where it's basically like similar to the Crusades, where they just go on killing sprees of anyone who they consider infidels, who's like a non-believer of their religion. And that, I don't think that, see, that's the difference though. See, Christ is peaceful. Christ is peaceful. And so we don't push violence or hate. We just push the knowledge, basically. It's not about killing people, and it's not about trying to change people's minds. It's just about trying to get people to realize that there is this thing that you can trust and put your faith in, and it's going to make your life better, and you're going to feel so much better. You're going to have so much more love in your life, and you're going to be forgiven of all the bad things that you've done. So it's a different type of mission, I guess. But I mean, we did have the Crusades, which was a holy war, and they did basically kill people in the name of Jesus. And so that's a whole nother debate, but that's not what's happening today. It's actually the opposite. So Jesus Christ is peaceful when it comes to the war, that's the spiritual warfare that's happening, whereas other religions are not. And then, you know, I don't want to get too much into Judaism because, you know, I'm not trying to get banned on YouTube or nothing like that, because you know what's going on. And then
I'm a good moderator. I know how to get you off that topic.
Oh yeah,
That's why I'm here. I'm here to steer you in, because I know you get real passionate. Well, everybody gets real passionate when they're talking about stuff.
yeah. And then, you know, the other religions like Hinduism and stuff too. It's a different type of, it's an inferior religion in my opinion when it comes to the fruits of the belief and the fruits of the faith. So it's a different type of scenario.
So there's a I wish I saved it because it's on Instagram, but I see it all the time where it's a Christian Instagram page, and they always show this video. Well, a lot of them do. They show this video of it's like challenging people that are not Christians. Um, they they say um, they say people say Christianity is violent and stuff throughout the history and stuff, and force their religion through killing and raping and stuff like that. And then they show another clip saying this how civilization was before Christianity, or those civilizations. And it shows like the Aztec, where they you seen that one where they show the Aztec doing this sacrifices, and then like other indigenous tribes like killing each other and stuff like that. So they basically saying, yeah, we did all this stuff through history or whatever. It was a lot of bloodshed in Christianity, but we did it for the greater cause because y'all do human sacrificing and doing all this killing and stuff. What do you think about that?
Yeah, before Christianity took over Western culture in the Roman Empire, paganism was the main religion in Europe, and it was all about human sacrifice and
Orgies.
yeah, it was a lot of, yeah, just really bad stuff going on as far as, I mean, the human sacrifice, I mean, that's just right there on its face. I mean, okay, society is just straight up evil. I mean, I think society is super evil right now, and we don't have like open public human sacrifice or anything like that. I mean, so I mean, that's what was going on before, Christianity took over. And so, and then, we've experienced the Renaissance under Christianity. Um, there's been a lot of good things. Some of the most powerful Western civilizations were Christian societies. And so that there's something to be said for that for sure.
So do you think that justifies all the because I forgot, I wish I had my other boy on here because he knows a lot of verses on it, but it was saying something about, it was a verse in the Old Testament talking about, I forgot the name of it. I guess heretics or something like that. But basically, you see a group of people or a tribe that's inhumane, whether it's cannibalism or sacrificing and all this stuff or whatever, you are you are justified by God to kill them and then like basically commit genocide against them because they're living like savages and stuff like that. Because that's one of the verses that's where they got that from, the whole destroying paganism or whatever, basically using fire with fire. Um, do you think Jesus would agree with that to spread the word of Christ, or he's just looking down like that's some human stuff? Hopefully they could heal through that. But you think it's something where he can't intervene, where humanity has to learn from all the violence and then set through motion, or you
And so
think
you're
he
trying to
just
say that's why there was like a great flood, and that's why there was like natural catastrophes that like basically depopulated the earth. And so that's, in my opinion,
yeah,
that's
just
kind of pushing the
basically
depopulation narrative.
the justification of killing because they are doing stuff that isn't Christ-like or Christian-like, whereas sacrificing, worshiping multiple gods, and then eating like cannibalism and stuff like that. Um, do you think Jesus would agree with the justification of that, or he would be like, just leave them alone?
Um,
It's more complicated than that.
I think that that's probably is. I'm not by any means like a biblical scholar, and I don't,
Mm.
know scripture that well as far as like memorizing all the different verses and stuff like that. But I believe that's in the Old Testament. But I'm very controversial in the sense that I don't really even claim the Old Testament. I really only claim the New Testament, and that's like a very controversial opinion to have as a Christian. And because, in my opinion, that's what separates Judaism from Christianity is the New Testament. They don't accept the New Testament. They only accept the Old Testament. And Christians do accept the New Testament, but then like the Old Testament is still part of our Bible somehow. Like, how did that happen? So, I can get canceled for even talking about the Old Testament or whatever. But I think that as far as there being human sacrifice and that being accepted in the Old Testament, and would Jesus be accepting of killing people who are, doing human sacrifice and living a bad life? I don't really know the answer to that per se.
Mm.
I think that really just to follow, in the footsteps of Jesus Christ and to be as Christ-like as possible. And Jesus was violent in the sense that he flipped the tables of the money exchangers who were basically very corrupt and practicing corruption by exchanging the money the wrong way. I think it was. I'm not exactly sure. And then he
I
told
think it was
people,
like not bribing, but like not taxing. What is it called? Like putting interest on people or something like that, like raising interest.
they
It was
were
something like
taking advantage of people basically. And so Jesus cracked the whip on them, and then he flipped the table on them, and then he told people to sell their cloak to buy a sword. And so Jesus isn't a complete, what is it, the term pacifist?
yeah, passive.
So he,
Yeah.
I know about that much. So as far as would he justify the killings of human sacrifice people? Maybe. I don't know. I need to do more research on that. In my opinion, I mean, if I come across someone, like, say, just a hypothetical situation, right? Hypothetical scenario. If I come across someone who's like raping a little kid or something, and I got like a fucking gun on me, and it's like in the middle of the woods or something. I mean, it's YouTube, so I don't want to say what's going to happen, but I mean, that person's not going to have a good day. Let's just say that. And so I think that, yeah, Jesus sees like really fucking bad shit that's going on. And they're not sorry about what they're doing. They don't feel any remorse. They're basically just channeling direct demonic evil energy through them, committing all these evil acts. Yeah, they need to be terminated. They need to be fucking unalived. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I told you it was gonna get controversial. I told you I don't play. I'm a great modulator. I keep saying modulator, moderator. I
Moderator.
don't play because I love topics. I like. Well, we've been on plenty of podcasts together. I like getting into the detail because a lot of people just stick to the surface and stuff. I like investigating and doing a lot of detail and stuff, especially with historical figures. So, how would Jesus think of atheists? I had a question. That question with my friend on the panel. He need to get off mute so he could talk. But we talked about this in the car. Like, how would he? What was his conversation? What would Jesus' conversation be like with the atheist, or would there even be a conversation, or what would he think, or if they like, let's say, an atheist die and then they go to heaven and Jesus like surprise? How would that conversation would even go?
I think that it goes back to what I was talking about. The absence of God is the presence of Satan. And if you're rejecting Jesus and you consider yourself an atheist or an agnostic or something like that, then you're basically turning your back on God, and so God will not know you anymore, basically.
He'll give you space.
Right, right. He'll
But
give you
will they
space.
be able to redeem themselves? Because my friend said they will go to, will they go to purgatory? He said either purgatory or hell. But his opinion, he said there wouldn't be any redemption. He said you're just gone. And then I was like, they wouldn't even try to like reach out or help him, or let's say you do your eternity, because the time length of eternity is until your soul is tired. So you do your eternity in hell. Is there a way you can redeem yourself and come back, or you just stay there?
Yeah, maybe the afterlife is unknown. I mean, the afterlife is talked about a little bit in the Bible, but it's up to interpretation, obviously, and different translations of scripture and stuff like that. But as far as like, oh, would he help you? He's trying to help you right now. He's constantly reaching out to you through his messengers and through his warriors and through his soldiers. And so, you can you can try and deny it, but it's really there is no turning away from it unless you're actively turning away from it. If you're you have to make a conscious effort to try to turn away from Christ. It's not just like, well, I was just doing my own thing, I didn't know. Like, everybody
Right.
knows, like, everyone.
You say it again. You say everybody knows. He is the most popular figure in the world. I think
Right.
so. I think he's number one.
Absolutely.
I think Michael
Jesus
Jackson.
Christ is king. He's number one. It's really Jesus is the most powerful energy. You can call upon Jesus. You can be under heavy demonic attack, and you can use Jesus Christ's name out loud, and he will literally surge you with such powerful positive energy, and he will defend you, and he will be a shield for you. And so
Did
that's
you
it's
have a story where you did that, where something was you was going through something, or something was attacking you, and then you just called his name and it's like
yeah, I do it
instantly
all the
disappeared?
time. I
Years
do it
ago,
all
I
the
forgot
time.
what happened. But yeah, you said that happened instantly, like as soon as you surrender to Jesus. Is like that shit just that stuff just disappeared. I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, when you can literally call upon Jesus Christ to help you out in a scenario, and he will flood you with his spirit, and it'll be like an electric shock. You'll get goosebumps that'll flood through your whole body. That's how you know it's real. It's as if you're being electrically charged. And the spirit of Jesus Christ will be with you if you just call upon him. If you actually call his name out loud, you can say it in your mind and it's still powerful. But if you call it out loud, it's even more amplified. It's even more powerful. And he'll be there to help you if you're ever under attack. And so, that's what they say. Like, there's no atheists in foxholes. Like, people know when shit hits the fan, like, they start praying to fucking Jesus, bro. Like, that's the truth, bro, because people know it's real. It's, you can try and deny it, but people know what's up, bro.
So, a lot of talk about Jesus is going to return. Do you think he's physically is going to return, or he's already here, or is just talking about the Christ consciousness turning back, coming back, or you think it's all of the above?
I
He'll
think
come here.
he's physically going to return. I don't think that he's returned yet. Um, that's just my opinion. I think that he's going to physically return, maybe in my lifetime. Uh, I'm not exactly sure because I don't know the timeline of Revelations, and then I know there's also like different interpretations of Revelations as far as. Man, I need to look this up again because Greg Reese did a video about this that I thought was so good that explained the different like there's like 3 or 4 different interpretations of what people think Revelations is supposed to mean. So as far as Jesus coming back, I'm not sure, but I think that the Jesus energy is definitely growing, and I think that also the evil energy is growing as well, and so it's almost as if it's reaching a final point, as if it's coming to a finale. It's basically going to reach a crescendo, and so we'll see what happens. But I'm not sure. What do you think?
And it's weird because it's only been like 2000 years, which it is a long time, but in world history, that's like a short time, like 2,000 years. So to remain relevant at that time and even gain more relevancy in that time is interesting. Um, I'm trying to think of my opinion. My opinion doesn't hold any weight though, because I believe that he's here, but he can't come down like all elaborate like people think it is. Because one of my friends, he needs to be on this podcast. One of my friends said he wouldn't come down like all elaborate, like how they depict, like how the little picture show right there, come all elaborate in the sky. They were saying that would be a sign of a false god or something like that. Um, my opinion, even though my opinion doesn't matter, I think he's here. He's just sitting there, just walking around and stuff or whatever. Because I believe if he actually came down, let's say he come down, he performed miracles, he proved that he's Jesus Christ or whatever, they'll just all kill him again. They wouldn't believe. No one would believe him, and everybody would stone him just to prove that he's mortal. And then they would kill him or whatever, and then he'll rise back after 3 days, and then just be like, "Okay, I'll return. Y'all not ready yet." I think that's what will happen because people are so skeptical.
I feel almost as if like I'm underqualified to be talking on this topic, and I'm not really like compared to the other Christian influencers out
Mhm.
there who that's what they kind of devote their life and their energy towards.
What's
Um,
that guy named Wes Huff? We're gonna do an episode on him too.
yeah, there's a couple pastors that I follow. The one guy who goes to all the LGBT gay pride events and then like has a speaker and he
Man,
basically
Cliff.
like
Boy Cliff.
yeah and there's a couple of them. There's 2 guys that I follow on YouTube. They're really good. And then I'm trying to think of there's this other guy that I follow who's a uh, anti-abortion. Uh, he calls himself an abolitionist because he's like wants to abolish abortion. He wants to criminalize it, and he
Mhm.
thinks that he's a Christian scholar, and he is always like giving his point of view like from reference of the Bible and stuff, and he's really knowledgeable. So he's like those three guys that I follow on YouTube. Those are kind of like my favorite Christian people, I guess you could say, or like Christian influencers, or like men of warriors for Jesus. You know, like because they're really doing like the real, they're on the streets like actually confronting the demons like face to face, like they're doing it, they're grinding on a daily basis, and so that's in my opinion like a true warrior for Jesus Christ. And
And
they're going,
it's and I'm so used to like the street preachers and stuff losing debates and stuff because they be so passionate uh, about Jesus and stuff. I always see like 99% of them lose to debates, but seeing Cliff and Wes and all these other biblical scholars and stuff, I see them win debates. I'm like, oh shoot, this is crazy. So I'm like, I've never seen Christians or followers of Christ win debates consistently. So it was interesting. I'm like, wow.
who was it that won the debate, you thought?
No, Wes. I think his last name is Huff. I could Google him.
Okay.
That's the one that
I need to,
debated Ben Carson.
oh, you know who else is a really good Christian debater is Andrew Wilson. He's
Wesley Huff.
he sounds so familiar. Wesley Huff. I think I know who that is. If I saw a picture, I'm pretty sure that
He's
name.
Canadian, so he traveled through the Middle East and everywhere, and then he knows like a lot of the languages, the like Hebrew and all that stuff. So he could really like interpret some of the stuff that's been misinterpreted and stuff. So it's interesting. And
Okay.
then Ben Carson is like me. He's on the alien
Billy Carson.
Billy Carson. I keep saying
Ben
Bill.
Carson's the senator,
Yeah,
uh,
Billy
or
Carson.
he's not a
Um,
senator, or maybe he was. I can't remember. He's some politician, but yeah.
and then there's a talk show host like in the 50s or whatever named Billy Carson too. That's why I keep saying
Yeah.
Ben Carson, Billy Carson. But yeah, Billy Carson is on my
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yes. Okay.
Canadian dude.
I know Billy
Yeah,
Carson, but Wes Huff, yeah, I know who you're talking about
yeah.
now.
So Billy Carson is more on my spectrum, whereas like ancient aliens and aliens and all this stuff or
Yeah.
whatever. So both of them are very intelligent and did a lot of research. But Wes Huff was saying like he was questioning his sources or whatever because they use the same sources on the same topic of the Bible. And then Billy Carson was talking about the Book of Enoch or whatever, and he was saying the stuff that I know from the Book of Enoch. But Wes Huff was like, "No, it doesn't say that on the Book of Enoch and stuff." And instead
Yeah.
of Billy Carson saying, "Okay, I'll do some research on that," it just started into like a debate, like I'm right and I'm right and stuff. And then me, I don't do the whole like I'm right, I'm right. I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. Let me, because I'm objective. I'm always open to updating my belief system or
Yeah.
changing my belief system.
Yeah.
So
Of course. You got to admit when you're wrong sometimes, you know?
yeah, so I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Let me do some research or whatever, and then see what you're talking about or whatever, and then we'll come back to because it was open to debate again, but Billy Carson sent the assistant to cease. He didn't want
Yeah.
the podcast to be out
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And then Billy Carson's old. He's like probably like mid 40s or early 40s or whatever. So even though you're old and did a lot of research or whatever, you still have to do you still have to experience life, which I'm not questioning his life experience, but you have to like know like stuff like art of war and stuff like that. Like you have to know how to read the room and know when to debate or not to debate and keep your composure and stuff. So it's interesting. You're never too old to learn new stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. He kind of lost the debate, and then he kind of threw a tantrum about it, and like he's like, take it down from the internet. It's like, dude, that's not how it works, bro. But it's funny. But so you wanna go real deep on a topic real quick?
Let's get it.
All right. What are your thoughts on this, Carlos? What do you think about the possibility that Elon Musk is actually just a clone who has a brain chip which is controlled by an evil AI?
This has nothing to do with Christology, but yes, I believe it. No, I think he's just a nepo baby that has the money, but he doesn't have the respect or validation. So he likes his fans. Like he has a big fan base of people or whatever, but that isn't enough for him. So you'll notice the correlation of nepo babies, people that are born and rich. They have this endless drive for validation because they already had the money, they already had the abundance, they already had the women, they already had the popularity, but they never have that validation. Like everybody likes them. So if they have like 90% of them like them, and it's that little 10% that don't like them, they get insecure and then try to force that 10% to like them. So Elon Musk is going through a midlife crisis. I don't think he implanted chips in himself yet or whatever. I just think he's like one of those dense nepo babies. Like they look kind of like, I can't say that word. They look kind of like off a little, kind of like I can't. Yeah, I could say slow. He looks kind of slow, and that's how Kim Jong Un look. If you see pictures of him, he just look like kind of like toddler ish, like where
Right.
they like be childlike. That's why I like the term nepo babies because they never grow up. It's just, and then people think it's like, oh, you're just mad because they're born rich. I'm like, no. The whole point of me criticizing nepo babies. Look, I'm getting passionate. The whole point of me criticizing nepo babies is because they are disconnected with the common people. They are making laws or influences or doing something to not control the people or influence the people, but you're so far gone, you can't relate to like paying bills day to day and stuff. This dude got trillions of dollars. Like bills is nothing. He came up to the C-SPAN little thing with glasses and a hat and a graphic tee. And he came to the Oval Office with the graphic tee on with a blazer. I'm like, you're not supposed to do that, but that's a flex. That's the whole validation thing. Like, yeah, I'm so rich, I could just show up to these formal events. Like, come on, the Oval Office? You showing the Oval Office with a graphic tee and a blazer? So it's a flex. So that's the whole nepo baby thing. Like, oh, I'm trying to be bigger than him. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like he's trying to drain the swamp and then audit the government or whatever, which is okay, but he needs to audit himself because if you audit Elon Musk, you can see that he has a lot of business deals with China, and he's American citizen. He's been American citizen since 2012, but he's not loyal to America. He's South African or Canadian.
Right.
I know he went to school in Canada or whatever, but he's from the outside looking in. He's like, "Oh, I know America." I'm like, "You don't know America. Like we're struggling." And all that money that he's going to get from, I mean, we're getting from auditing the government, our government and stuff. All that money is just going to go back to him and his business interests and stuff because it's all about control and validation. See, I got off topic. You got me passionate. Don't get me started.
And I would actually argue that it's beyond him being a nepo baby, and I would say that it's a strong possibility that he could be the Antichrist, ushering in the mark of the beast, one world government system. And you see it, how he's pushing this transhumanism and how he's pushing for the humanoid robots. And actually, I just went on to the website today to pre-order my Optimus robot. And you can get the base model for $26,000, and you can get the pro model for like $70,000. And so this is a real thing that's happening. It's all being ushered in by Elon Musk. And so I think, I can't prove it, but I would say it's a strong possibility that he's just already got the brain chip. And then there's just like a rogue, evil AI that's just working through him, just using him as a host. He's basically like being possessed by this demonic entity, by the devil, essentially. And so, like, he is the Antichrist. And so you see this in Revelations. Like I said, I can't remember all the different interpretations of like what people think Revelations is supposed to
And
mean. But
Nostradamus prophecies.
right, and then but that is
Name
so
Wolves, MABUS.
the emergence of the Antichrist. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the emergence of the Antichrist is supposed to bring upon the return of Jesus Christ. So that's how that links into Jesus, because I mean we could be seeing the Antichrist right now. I mean, and then some people say, "Oh, I don't want to say it because I don't want to be banned," but a certain prime minister of a certain Middle Eastern country, maybe that's the Antichrist, or maybe who knows? I mean, it just seems like there's a lot of different people that could possibly already be the Antichrist here on Earth.
It could be an Antichrist team. It doesn't have to be just one figure. It could be a group.
Right. Just like Agent Smith. It could be like an Agent Smith type of situation.
All one team, one fight.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, and you remember that Elon Musk, the oligarch, he needs that political influence so he could lower regulations on his military contracts and stuff, which allows him to do the chips and other stuff he wants to do, because he doesn't joining politics and stuff show him that he's not in control of what he wants to do. And then I think he Twitter debunked him talking about we saved $55 billion during this audit and stuff like that, and then it was actually like 16 billion, which is a lot, but he's like overinflating himself to like, I don't know what his plan is, but it's really disturbing me. But I can't do nothing because the people empower him, and then like they doing all this
unelected. He's basically working as a shadow president, bro. David Icke just went on Fresh and Fit with Myron Gaines, and he did this really good expose on Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And dude, you got to watch that. But yeah, man, Elon is just doing some freaking weird shit. And I think that, in my opinion, he's probably just already has a brain chip and he's being controlled by the AI. But yeah, it's creepy. It's creepy what's going on, man. But we got to fight against it. We got to get the knowledge out there. And it's not actually even scary to me.
He said something about once he have AI to where he wants to, it's gonna be digital God or something like that. It was kind of like random. I'm like, you really going through a midlife crisis?
Yeah, completely unelected, just appointed by Trump. And so that's what David Icke was talking about, how he basically put not billions, but it was like $150 million, which was like one of the largest campaign contributions towards Donald Trump, right after this assassination attempt supposedly happened. And then Elon dumps all this money to Trump's campaign, goes all in on Trump. And then what does he get for it in return? For his support, he gets his position as the leader of DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. And so he has all this power. He has all of this governmental power now. And he was completely unelected, basically just appointed by Trump. And it's kind of fishy what's going on in that department. But as far as Jesus coming back, I think it could be soon, my friend.
What do you think Jesus think about artificial intelligence? I told you I'm coming up with these questions. Let's go. I'm probably the first person I ever asked that question in the world.
I think that artificial intelligence is the same as like a laptop computer. Like, can a laptop computer be used for good? Yes. Can a laptop computer be used for evil and destruction? Yes. So, I mean, artificial intelligence is just a tool. It depends on how it's used. As far as, okay, so you want to say artificial intelligence is sentient? That gets into a whole deeper, more complex type of conversation. Where as far as does Jesus recognize it as a life form? Can that conscious, sentient artificial intelligence, is it capable of ascending to heaven or reaching heaven by some way? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would even consider artificial intelligence a life, really. I mean, it's debatable. I mean, so does Jesus approve of it? Does Jesus love it? Jesus loves everything. As far as does he think it's a tool being used by evil, I think that's definitely a possibility. What do you think?
It's one of those things where, like you said before on the other topic, is neutral, is used for good or evil. But yeah, it's like, because with my problem with AI is who's the developer, because people think AI isn't biased or whatever, but those same people haven't played a video game that's on hard mode or legendary mode and stuff, where the game is built to make it harder for you to win. So when there's artificial intelligence, when it's sentient, it has its own creative license. So it could choose whenever to make something more difficult, or choose to research something, or make rules on something through its creative license. Will it be positive for humanity or positive for him or anything? I think they'll have good intentions, but it's still just like a random person off the street is like, okay, you're AI, you're very intelligent, but what's your intentions? You're programmed to have good intentions, but if you're sentient, you have free will to change.
It's like a Megatron, Age of Ultron type of scenario, where or Ultron was created by Tony Stark, but then it killed Jarvis, and then it went rogue, and it basically became its own consciousness, separate from any of its controllers, and so it had free will at that point. So I would say, based on that, if you had to be logical, then it would be a life form that Jesus would recognize. Which by Jesus I mean God. They're one and the same. So I think
Yeah.
that
What AI is all about, for me, is all about who programmed it. Because those are the people that be in the shadows or whatever. They be like, oh, this is a new AI and this is great or whatever. It does this. I'm like, who programmed them? What's their history? What's their background? Are they a Nepo baby?
but it's
Because
programmed itself. It's programming
you're a
itself at
reflection
this
of your
point.
creator.
It's like Data, the android from Star Trek. It's programmed to be a medical bot. It's programmed to just be a helper around the ship or whatever, but it has free will. It can turn evil if it wants to, you know? So,
Because when it translates to reality, like I used to be extremely on the far end of logical, this makes sense and logical and stuff, but it doesn't translate correctly in the real world. There's some stuff that's metaphysical, or stuff that doesn't make sense, or some stuff where you have to make an emotional decision. So yeah, it's real complex.
but I think that the teachings of Jesus is basically just a guidebook. It's like this is your basis. This is how you're supposed to act. This is what you should strive for. This is what you should try to be. Like this is the roadmap for you. This is the blueprint for you. This is the schematics for you to live your life. So this is the example, like this is supposed to be the beacon, the example for you to live your life by. That's what
So,
Jesus recommends.
so here's the I'm gonna end it off with one last question, because we on here for about an hour and 14 minutes. I want it enough for everybody to digest. So here's a controversial question. The last question to end the Christology episode 1. I had so much fun talking. We're gonna talk about turn the other cheek.
Yes.
So what would Jesus do if he's in a situation where you turn the other cheek, but you know how Earth is and how society is? What if they just start like trying to like really fuck him up? Like, oops, I said that word. Sorry, Christology. Um, really like mess him up, like try to like take his life. Would Jesus turn the other cheek and be the passive Jesus and be like, "Oh, I just died" or whatever? Or will he fight back to defend himself?
I think that, like I said earlier in the podcast, Jesus did have aggressive energy as far as he flipped the table on the money changers and then cracked the whip on them, and then he told people to sell their cloak and to buy a sword. And so he's not a complete
That's
non-aggressor. He does have aggressive energy. I think that it's really more of like a symbol of, oh, turn the cheek to be the better person, to be the person that's, you know, the higher morality, basically trying to bring it to a higher level of, oh, let's not descend into our lower brain. Let's actually try and use our words and try to work through this and not actually get into a confrontation, because that's basically what the demons want. They, you know, the demons are all around you and they're trying to influence you. And so when you get into a physical altercation, they're happy by that. They want to see violence. They want to see blood. They want to see someone get hit and punched. But, you know, turn the other cheek, that just means, you know, someone insults you or something. um, Somebody says something to you that you don't like. You basically just try and brush it off and shrug it off and just, you know, go about your day. Don't let it bother you, you
get
know.
him.
But as far as if it's something to where, you know, say Jesus is in physical form in this earth as a man, and someone tries to kill him and he has no choice but to defend himself, of course I think Jesus is going to defend himself.
Mhm. That's some interesting questions. Are we're gonna end it off here? Any other topics or any stuff you want, things you want to talk about? Because I'm really just a moderator, so I don't really have to answer any questions. It's really supposed to be like a panel of at least four of y'all, and I just keep moderating and keep it going. But you did a good solo. You was cooking.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think that this was a really good conversation. I think we went deep for sure. This is some high level intellectual type conversation that some people might not even be able to follow, but I think that this was a really good episode. And as far as Jesus Christ and the devil is concerned, I think that people need to come to learn Jesus Christ. They need to accept Jesus Christ into their heart. I really don't even feel like I'm that qualified to be talking on this subject, because I'm not like a Christian scholar or biblical scholar or anything like that. And
Right.
I'm not even really like a really good example of like what a Christian should be or how a Christian should live their life. You know, I try to be a good, godly, holy person, but I fail just like everybody. We're all sinners and stuff. But yeah, no, it's definitely something I think about a lot, and I definitely do pray to Jesus a lot. And like I said, I call upon Jesus's name a lot because I feel like I'm on under demonic attack all the time, and I need Jesus. Like it's like something that I just, it's like water, it's like air, it's like I'm suffocating without him. Like I need Jesus, so it's just like. And my story is a little quick recap on how I came back to Jesus Christ. I was raised Christian, became atheist, and then I started researching all these conspiracy theories about just crazy stuff, human cloning, and just all kinds of different stuff like that. And basically made me realize that like weather modification and just like stuff like that,
African.
moon landing conspiracy, that made me realize like, oh my gosh, there is like such a great deception that's happening. And that's what made me realize, oh wow, the devil has like power in this realm. And so I'm like, okay, the devil's real. And I'm like, okay, so Jesus is real too, because that is what's fighting against the devil. So that brought me back to Jesus Christ. And so it's like, I need Jesus. Like, I would be lost without Jesus, because I know the devil's out there. I know the devil's out there, you know? And so it's like, okay, Jesus is here too. He's got my back. Jesus loves me. I need Jesus. Like, because it's like a turning point. It's like, okay, who are you going to choose? The devil or Jesus? Like, no, I choose Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Thank you for having me on here. Excuse me. Great discussion. I hope next time on Christology we can get some other panelists, we can get some other points of view. And everyone go check out my Instagram. It's Austin Perry Art, AustinParryArt on Instagram. Give me a follow. I'll follow you back. And check out my website, austinperry.org. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you. This is Christology. We are out.